Okay, please rise in body or spirit and join me in our opening hymn in the gray hymnal number 225, O Come, Emmanuel. Please be seated.
Christmas comes but once a year amid the winter snow, and friends will gather far and near to share the season's glow. Oh, there's no place like home for the holidays, 'cause no matter how far away you roam, when you pine for the sunshine of a friendly gaze, for the holidays you can't be home, sweet home, sweet home. I met a man who lives in Tennessee, and he was heading for Pennsylvania and some homemade pumpkin pie. From Pennsylvania, folks are traveling down to sunny southern shores. From Atlantic to Pacific, gee, the traffic is terrific. Oh, there's no place like home for the holidays, 'cause no matter how far away you roam, sweet home. For the holidays you can't beat home, sweet home. Sweet home.
We gather as people of faith with joys and sorrows, gifts and needs. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning and celebration of the life we share together. As many of you know, we have a thing about roses here in this congregation. We give roses that we remove the thorns from to our young children or infants as we dedicate them. And we then give roses with the thorns intact to our youth, our high schoolers who are moving on from this place. And they love getting those roses with the thorns on them. It's a mark of honor for them. We also give roses to our new members when they join this congregation. And by the same token, we honor the life of a member who has made their final departure from this congregation as well with a rose. And so it is with Myrna Dawson, who we learned from her husband, Jim, died back in October. And Myrna and Jim are both members of this congregation for the past 14 years. Myrna was active in several chalice circles and covenant groups and has been ill for the last year and a half. And so it is, we light this candle to honor the light of Myrna's life. And we float the leaves of a rose onto the waters of life, also symbolizing the life that Myrna had both here at ERUUF and beyond these walls as well. I invite you to join me for a moment of silence as we consider this life that has departed from this place. Spirit of life and love, we offer our love to Myrna, though she is gone. We offer that love to her wherever she is now. We offer our love to her husband, Jim, who is sitting in this room at this moment. We pray that Jim and any other family members and friends receive the comfort they might wish to receive during this time. And we know that we are changed every time someone new comes to this place, and we also are changed by their departure. And so we honor the change that occurs here at ERUUF as a result of Myrna's departure. And we give her our love, we offer the family peace and comfort at this time. Amen, Ashe, and may it be so. Oh, I did not have to leave. There's always a lot going on. Good morning. I'll say that I said to this first service, it sounds like you still got turkey in your stomach. Good morning. There you go. Well, welcome. Welcome, everyone, to the Eno River Unitarian Universalist Fellowship, or ERUUF, as we like to say. I'm Reverend Jacqueline Brett, and I'm the lead minister here, and whoever you are, wherever you come from, whatever your race, your gender identities, whomever you love, and how many of the objects you dropped, you're welcome here, beloved community, with all of us. For those of you who are at home, there have been objects dropping in the room. Do not drop any intentionally now. If you are visiting with us for the first or perhaps even the second time, I invite you to rise in body or spirit so that we might give you an ERUUF welcome. Yay! Awesome, awesome, awesome. And for those of you who are at home, if you are visiting with us today, please, and you have a chat box available, please put your name in the chat box and someone will welcome you there as well. For any of you who might have, guess what was missing today? Yes, there were no children in the service. I think I saw a little back there. So the reason the children are not in the service, and there's one right there, is that they are next door baking cookies for Urban Ministries, which is the shelter downtown. So if you wish your child or children to join our kids who are next door in the building next door to bake cookies, please go ahead outside. Someone will meet you there and show you exactly what to do. So feel free to do that, because that's where all the kids are today. And this one is really for children, not just the young at heart. It's just, just for the children. So now would be a great time to turn off or down any devices you might have on your person. So we begin this month of December with our focus on the theme of presence. That's Presence, not the other presents, though in this month of holiday celebrations, they will probably come into play. Speaking of which, we shall have 9 distinct and unique services this month. And there's a lot of work going on in the background. A few of which are occurring as multi-generational services, meaning that we will have one service on those days that begins at 11 o'clock. We also have a couple of services occurring on unusual times or on unusual days of the week. So please take a look at the e-news or the slides that you'll see on the monitor at the end of the service or out in the gallery. It'll give you a whole list of all the services we have going on. And if you don't have the time for that or you forget to do that, I would suggest that you check the front page of our website before you come here on a Sunday morning this month, just in case things are a little bit different. So I'll tell you a little bit about some of those services in a moment, but I want to take a moment to say something about the services this month, as some folks often wonder and come to me and I get emails and I get things on the receiving line. What's going on with all of a sudden focus on Christianity? And related to this, some folks have also sometimes wondered, and very sincerely and rightfully, am I still welcome in this place that has suddenly become very Christian? So I'll first say, know that you are. You always are. And I will also say we are unapologetically pluralistic here. We are, with that in mind, we acknowledge in our pluralism that Christianity is at the root of Unitarianism and Universalism, and that's important. We acknowledge these roots twice a year in the month of December and during the time of Easter in our own very unique and liberal ways of doing that. In so doing, we also recognize that some who espouse Christianity, both in the past and today, have created much harm toward many people across the ages and all over the world, including harm, we know, to some of the people in this very room. But I also want you to know that this is true of any spiritual tradition or religious tradition or humanist tradition. People do harm to one another. And this happens when the focus ceases to be heart-centered and about the well-being of all, the well-being of all beings, and it turns into fulfilling the desires of an ego-centered need for power and control. So 2 things to know about this month here at ERUUF. 3 of our 9 services focus explicitly on Christianity. This one today, and then our Christmas Eve pageant, which if you have never gone to a UU Christmas Eve pageant, I highly recommend it. It's like no other pageant you have likely ever seen before. And you might even get a chance to be in the pageant yourself. And also, we have a candlelight service on Christmas Eve as well. So the pageant starts at 5, with our children and some adults. We have, Michael is concocting some interesting things in between the services. We're bringing back our Christmas Eve soup supper. And then at 7 p.m., we do our candlelight service. So you can come attend one of these things, 2 of these things, or all of these things. But just know that you're welcome to all of them. Our other services are indirectly related to Christianity, such as lessons and carols, which is joy-filled singing from our various music groups of all ages, from the children to the adults. Their tunes are accompanied by stories about lessons learned in the lives of our ministers and staff that have to do with the songs that they're singing. And sometimes it's a bit of a stretch, but we make it work. There is also jazz for the holidays for all those who are in need of something a bit different than the typical holiday fare. And that happens on a Wednesday evening, Wednesday, December 18th. We have a solstice service on the evening of the solstice. That's a Saturday night. And finally, as if that wasn't enough, on December 29th, when everybody else is sleeping in, we have the bangingest, best ever Kwanzaa service you could even ever imagine. And I say that, and I encourage you all to attend. It is an amazing feat that this congregation does in full authenticity with everybody participating in different ways. And it is one of the most highly attended services that this congregation offers every year, including online video, the online video. We get more views of that than anything else. And the president of the UUA, Sophia Betancourt, will be our guest minister on that Sunday. And she called and asked to be. I didn't invite her. That says a lot about ERUUF. We are known to have the best Kwanzaa service in this denomination. So be there, or you're going to miss out. Our Jewish Fellowship will hold its potluck Shabbat this month as well. Please see e-news for the details about that event. And though we don't make a big deal of it here, we acknowledge that in some cultures, the Buddha's birthday is celebrated next Sunday on December 8th. And Reverend Daniel will be back, but he is not the Buddha. But it'll be good to have him back, right? The point is, as with today, you'll hear about the inspirations of our UU faith throughout the year from our various sources groups. From the ERUUF Christian Fellowship, who is here with us today, the Jewish Fellowship, ERUUF COPS, that's our pagan group, and the Buddhist community, and also our non-theist group. We all have the opportunity to widen our circle of understanding when we open our hearts and our minds even a little bit to the wisdom and the teachings at the root of each of the many ways of understanding this world and the many ways of being on the spiritual path. And so with that, I invite you to all take a deep breath in and let it out. And let us begin. Was I supposed to do something else? I wasn't supposed to do something else. Okay.
In Christian churches, today marks the first Sunday of Advent, a season that includes the 4 Sundays before Christmas, established by the Roman Catholic Church in 590 CE. The church saw many advantages, theologically and practically, of placing the celebration of the birth of Jesus among the popular festivals of the winter solstice. And the modern Western Church molded those weeks of winter celebration into Advent, the season that we're marking today. It's a season of reflection, a time to slow down, even among the hustle and bustle, and a time to seek some quiet in the long winter nights and light candles in the dark to remind us to hope. The word Advent comes from the Latin verb advenio, which means to arrive or to come. So you could call Advent the arrival or the coming. It's the same verb in the phrase, "Thy kingdom come," in the Lord's Prayer. So Advent is a season that speaks to the arrival of Jesus and the virtues that he represents. Each of the 4 Sundays in Advent has a theme associated with it. That will be hope, peace, joy, and love. Today at ERUUF, we're going to focus on hope. For in times such as these, hope may seem to be difficult to find.
The concept of the Advent wreath originated among German Lutherans in the 16th century. However, the modern Advent wreath was a creation of a Protestant pastor, Johann Heinrich Wittschner, in 1839, as he tried to soothe the impatient children of his congregation during the 4 Sundays of Advent. The 4 candles in the ring signify those Sundays, and each Sunday's theme, hope, peace, joy, and love. 3 of the candles are purple or blue, the traditional church colors of Advent. The themes of those purple candles are shifted around by different traditions, but the 3rd Sunday is always the theme of joy, called Gaudete Sunday from the Latin rejoice. The joy candle is rose pink. The fifth candle is white and lit on Christmas Eve or Christmas morning to celebrate the child's birth. The light has come.
On this first week of Advent, Christians begin to anticipate the celebration of the birth of Jesus and light the candle signifying hope. Hope is the desire in the search for a future good, a good perhaps difficult but not impossible to attain with God's grace. We light the candle with this prayer, which recalls the Christian roots of our Unitarian Universalist faith. After the prayer, I will say, "Let in the light." Please respond back with "Let in the light." Blessed Creator, who moves in the dark, teach us to hope. Help us to be ready to appreciate the spark of light that comes to illumine our hearts and show the way toward love and peace. Help us to find breath to call out injustice, to speak words of love to those in need, to whisper in the wind that there is good in this world and enough to share. In the true belief that someday this world can become a beloved community that holds us all in care, we light this candle of hope. Let in the light. Let in the light.
Please rise in body and spirit and join in singing hymn number 226 in the gray hymnal. People look east. People look east, the time is here of the crowning of the year. Make your house fair as you are able. Trim the hearth and set the table. People look east and sing today. Love the guest is on the way. Furrows divide, the earth is bare. One more seed is planted there. Give up your strength for seed to nourish, that in course the flower may flourish. People look east and sing today. Love the rose is on the way. Stars keep the watch when night is dim. One more light the bowl shall brim, shining beyond the frosty weather, bright as sun and moon together. People look east and sing today. Love, the star is on the way. Please be seated.
This is usually where I would invite down all our smallest, mediumest, and tallest people, and children of all ages, and the children are baking cookies for Urban Ministries of Durham, which is fantastic, and it means they aren't here. So you get a story today that is more specifically a story time for the adults. Because we knew, if we try and take the story out of service, the adults will get upset. And so, which is a beautiful thing. I want you to love storytelling. This particular story has come up for our Advent service before, and I think it's particularly pertinent this year on this, the first Sunday of Advent, where the topic is hope. Thinking on the idea around Christmas that often comes up in UU spaces, that every child and every birth is a new chance for hope and joy. And also the idea this month of the practice of presence, that we might benefit from being present a little more broadly than we're used to keeping our eyes and our ears and all of our perceptors open more broadly than we are accustomed to, because that might be where we are finding the hope, is beyond the places that we have seen before. So think about yourself as you hear this story, where you might be and where you would want to be. Something was coming. You could see it in the way the snow whirled and twirled, making hills and bumps. In the way the children lay in snowbanks, making angels, their arms spread wide open as if to say, welcome. Something was coming. You could see it in the way the snowman's eyes sparkled, and in the way icicles dripped in the sun like hourglasses, counting the seconds. I wonder what's coming. But no one noticed the trail of footprints that wound around the barn, or the bushy-tailed squirrels huddled outside the door. No one, no one, no one. Something was coming. You could hear it in the voices of carolers that echoed through the streets and in the chime of church bells. You could hear it in the crinkle of wrapping paper and the hiss of scissors curling ribbon, one of my favorite sounds all year round. In the flutter of paper snowflakes pressed against the window panes, in the happy cries of children trimming the tree. But no one heard the jingle of cowbells or the shushing of the mother hen quieting her chicks. No one, no one, no one. Something was coming. You could smell it in the scent of cinnamon and spice that permeated the air, in the odor of pine that tickled your nose each time you passed through the hallway. You could feel it in the stiff winter air that hovered around doors and window frames, begging to come in. We are familiar with that feeling this week. In the warm fire dancing in the hearth, in the stockings asking to be filled, something was coming. But no one noticed the pigs' little tails curled in excitement, or the ears of the billy goat upright and alert. No one, no one, no one. Any ideas what's coming? Y'all are quieter than the kids. Okay, well, I'll take it. I'll take it. No ideas? All right. Something was coming. You could see it in the way the children crowded around the manger, in the way the three wise men solemnly offered gifts. But no one noticed the barn lights begin to blink, or the sheep who nodded knowingly to one another as if to say, it won't be long now. No one, no one, no one. Something was coming. You could taste it in the sugar-coated air that wafted through the house, in the cookies spread across the counter, in the gingerbread house trimmed with mounds of white icing. That smell is probably in the commons room right now. But no one noticed the fresh bed of hay in a corner of the barn, or the wide-eyed winter owl who stood watch. No one, no one, no one. Certainly the smell of hay is not in the commons room right now. Something was coming. You could see it in the way the frost made patterns on the window panes as if writing a secret message. You could feel it in the way the children tossed fitfully in their sleep, in the way the mother horse paced back and forth in her stall. Something was coming. No one heard the jingle of sleigh bells approaching as the clock struck midnight. No one saw who put the gifts under the tree and filled the stockings, or who ate the plate of cookies and carrots left on the table. No one, no one, no one. No one heard the quickening of life as the new pony entered the world, or saw the mouse running to spread the news. And no one knew who placed the star above the horse's stall. But in the morning, everyone knew that something had come. Keep your perceptors open for hope beyond where you might have looked before.
Please take a minute to rise and greet your neighbors. And talk about ponies or whatever.
Please join me in meditation. Hope is like a flower. It appears on schedule, but you forget it's there sometimes. Sometimes it's lurking beneath the surface, and you have to create your own flowers. You have to visualize them in your mind instead of seeing them for yourself. We're going through a time in which it feels like there is a hefty price to pay for hope. It feels way too expensive. But what's interesting is that it's even more expensive to lose sight of hope. You need hope like you need air. And yet, we don't consider the price of air until it's gone, until it's difficult to breathe. In this way, hope and air are linked.
Each week, we hold in our hearts the joys and concerns of this community, be they global, local, or here amongst our ERUUF folks. This morning, we hold concerns and challenges in the global community. We hold all those affected by ongoing conflicts around the world, including in Gaza, Sudan, and the Ukraine. We hold all those who continue to be affected by the impact of Hurricane Helene. Now let us take a breath together as we hold these concerns amidst the concerns that remain unspoken. We hold those things that might be of a mix. we hold those things that bring both joy and concern, such as the memorial for Judy Vaya that will be this coming Saturday at 7 p.m. A sorrow in that one among us has died, but a joy in that we lift up her life and her in memory. And also, let us take a moment to hold all the joys and possibilities that lay before us in this life. Let us hold those that currently remain unspoken, those joys and possibilities, as we take one more breath together. May we continue to share warmth throughout these moments on the journey. Amen, and blessed be.
Please rise in body and spirit, and we're going to sing number 1055 in the Teal hymnal, How Sweet the Darkness.
When windows that are black and cold are lit anew with fires of gold, when dusk and quiet shall descend, and darkness come once more a friend, and when the sky is swept of wars, and keeps but gentle moon and stars, that peaceful sky, that harmless air, how sweet the darkness there.
Hope. Hope is a word that's so familiar to most of us. We often hear it or use it ourselves without really giving it much thought. We hear someone say, "I hope that," and we instinctively understand what they are thinking. We will also use it or hear it as part of a well-known phrase like hope against hope or hope springs eternal. Merriam-Webster reminds us that hope is both a noun and a verb. As a noun, it is defined as a desire accompanied by expectation of or belief in fulfillment, or something or someone on which hopes are centered. When used as a verb, it means to cherish a desire with anticipation, to want something to happen or be true. I suspect that I speak for many listening here today that the outcome of the U.S. election was a gut punch. After seeing how so many of our fellow Americans decided to put into power those who are ready and willing to roll back gains we have made on individual human rights or addressing climate change and systemic inequality, and so many other areas where we should be doing even more rather than undoing them, I have to admit that sitting down to write a reflection about hope seemed somewhat pointless. Given the direction our society now seems poised to take, does having hope still mean anything? Or are we destined to be like Sisyphus from Greek mythology, to forever struggle to push the boulder up the hill, only to have it roll back down as soon as we make any progress? It was easy to feel powerless to make any difference. But then I thought about hope as a verb, A verb can either be active or passive, something you do or something done for you. And I realize that thinking of hope as being pointless was using it in the passive context, waiting for justice to happen rather than my actively playing my part to bring it about. If we are to maintain hope, we must always be active in working to make that hope a reality. Archbishop Desmond Tutu once said, "Hope is being able to see light despite all the darkness." As we strive to see the light, we are active in building hope. For myself, thinking about what our possible collective future may hold, I recall that Dr. Martin Luther King said, "The arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends towards justice." He never suggested that it would be easy, nor that there would not be those who would do everything they could to undermine it. But we must be in it for the long haul. And while there will be setbacks along the way, we must continue to take the small steps necessary to make justice a reality. If we never cease working to roll that metaphorical boulder up the hill, we are actively practicing hope. As the late NC State basketball coach Jim Valvano famously reminded us in his last public appearance, "Don't give up. Don't ever give up." We should also remember that we are not alone in this effort, that we can draw strength and the will to keep going from others who also continue to do the hard work to move our society forward, to keep pushing that boulder. A member of the Christian Fellowship shared this thought on hope. "The presence of people in my life who think and feel like me strengthen me each day, and that is even more so when we carry one another's burdens. Presence for one another at this time builds up hope, and hope is power." If you take away just one thing from this service today, let it be that. Hope is power. May it be so. How do we create the conditions to allow the seed of hope to take root and grow within us? Let us read responsively together Jordan Brown's words on how to meditate on hope. I'll read the first phrase of each pair, and we invite you to join with Denise in response. Where do you go if you can't find hope? What do you do if nothing is working?
You build a castle for hope. You construct the walls. You beautify the grounds. You create the space that will one day welcome hope in.
That's all you can do, the work.
And then, when you least expect it, hope appears. It's the flower that was never truly gone.
It's just something you couldn't see at the time.
Create the space for hope, and then invite it in.
This reading today comes from a hymn written in the 1970s in the Roman Catholic Church, in which I was a part of for many years. This is a hymn that I still sing and recite when I'm having trouble finding the hope. It speaks to companionship. It speaks to having someone beside you. You shall cross the barren desert, but you shall not die of thirst. You shall wander far in safety, though you do not know the way. You shall speak your words to foreign men, and they will understand. You shall see the face of God and live. Be not afraid. I go before you always. Come, follow me, and I will give you rest. If you pass through raging waters in the sea, you shall not drown. If you walk amid the burning flames, you shall not be harmed. If you stand before the power of hell and death is at your side, know that I am with you through it all. Be not afraid. I go before you always. Come, follow me, and I will give you rest. And blessed are your poor, for the kingdom shall be theirs. Blessed are you that weep and mourn, for one day you will laugh. And if wicked men insult and hate you all because of me, blessed are you. Be not afraid. I go before you always. Come, follow me, and I will give you rest. Amen.
On November 4th, my husband Peter and I left for a 2-week trip to Belize. So we were out of the country for the election and its aftermath. And although we were with a group of pretty much like-minded folks who were dismayed by the results, discussion of the election was put off limits in case anyone in the group felt otherwise. That space of not having to live in an environment of palpable anxiety and fear and anger was a gift. It gave me time to think about, where do I find hope? Where do I find grounding and being able to stay centered? What do I need to do to continue to live true to my values of compassion, justice, and equity without succumbing to the emotional reactions at what most certainly will be happening in the world around me? Breathe, I told myself. Watch less TV news. After a couple of sleepless nights, I turned once again, as I always have in troubled times, to my spiritual practice of inviting in divine presence, which I experience as a flow of energy, love, connectedness, and letting it flow through me and out into the world. For me, that meditation practice is a place of peace, rest, healing, finding answers, and hope. It connects with my belief that the energy that we put out in the world matters. Our thoughts, our actions, our very being affect how the world materializes around us. But it's not always easy. I confess that these days I find that it is taking discipline to do the work of my practice and trust that it will make a difference. But we need to do the inner work, spiritual work, if you will, to stay in a place that holds hope, that makes hope a reality, as Sean put it. We need to do the work that allows hope to hold the vision of building beloved community, or as Jesus taught, brings about the kingdom of God here on earth. Our trip in Belize ended with a 3-day visit with my son, who is doing business in Belize and is a Trump supporter, or rather a libertarian who votes for Trump, hoping that much of the current government system will be changed. We normally touch on politics very gingerly, or not at all. But this time, I just listened, as I did with the Trump supporter that I worked with in the polls during early voting. She clearly lives at a lower economic level and wanted relief. I heard that for different reasons, their votes were cast in the hope that significant change in our government would make their world better. Their reliance on hope for the election results was no different than ours on the other side. Is there a way to understand what is truly being hoped for and move on to innovative, out-of-the-box, common solutions? But that is a conversation for another time. So let's return to thinking about Advent season and the centering of hope in our own reflections. How do we find equanimity in these times? How do we reach the space that was implied in the hymn that Laverne read? If you pass through raging waters in the sea, you shall not drown. If you walk amid the burning flames, you shall not be harmed. If you stand before the power of hell and death is at your side, know that I am with you through it all. Where do you find that source of comfort, support, and hope that you will have companionship through it all? I realize that my practice of inviting in the divine is not the only way to get in touch with that which gives us hope. For some of you, it might be the connection with beloved community. For others, a personal relationship with God. For some, nature and its beauty and continued ability to renew. I think the important thing is to do the work, create the space for hope to flourish, trust, and have faith that hope is always present. We need only be mindful of how we connect to it. Thank you.
I want to thank you for these perspectives today on hope in holding their complexity and their possibility. And now we return to the time in our service each Sunday where we reflect on the gifts that we all bring together as a community, be those presence, be they logistical support, be they financial, indeed. Today is a Generosity Sunday, and we will hopefully hear more from this group next week. But our Generosity Sunday today is going to the Immigrant Solidarity Fund. So we will hear more about that next week, but know, as you are donating this week, that our donations are going to the Immigrant Solidarity Fund. There are also QR codes in the pews, and there will be pouches coming along by you if you'd like to put a donation in. And now.
I want everything the way it back to being a child again, thinking the world was mine. I want to see Christmas, Christmas, Christmas through your eyes, through your eyes. I see the rainbow hiding in the clouds, You were never afraid to let your love show. Won't you show me how? 'Cause I wanna learn, find the innocence in me through your young heart. Won't you help me find a way? Help me try. I want to see Christmas through your eyes. I want everything the way it used to be, back to being a child again. The world was mine, all mine. I want to see Christmas through your eyes, through your eyes. Want to see Christmas? Yes, I want to see. Want to see Christmas? Want to see Christmas? Want to see Christmas through your eyes.
Thank you, Heart of Carolina a cappella, for that gift of music today. And thank you all for your gifts that help contribute both to this congregation, this fellowship, and this world. And now, Claudia.
Our last hymn this morning is also in the gray hymnal. Please rise in body and spirit, hymn number 131.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way on the road
I love that song. I'd like to offer our closing words with these thoughts. In her book, Mystical Hope, Cynthia Bourgeault offers the following. Ultimately, hope is divine energy and intelligence moving toward accomplishment of its purposes. It makes use of us rather than we of it. While many of us are grieving for what could have been and feeling anxious about what may lie ahead, may we each and all have the courage to be still, enter into silence, and open our hearts to the eternal flowing presence of mystical hope, the sacred goodness beneath the surface of history that will not let us go, awaiting our consent and surrender to enter into the electromagnetic field of love, a term Bourgeault uses in her book, where every act of compassion resonates with and ripples through the cosmos toward fulfillment through unification of all life in divine love. On this Advent to 2024, may we be strengthened in our individual and collective practices to center ourselves in the electromagnetic field of love as we seek to live our lives moment by moment from the wellspring of mystical hope. May it be so. Amen.